Now, will you please lie on your stomach? Stretch both hands sideways at shoulder height. Stretch, lengthen your feet, stretch out your feet. And have them spread normally, shoulder width, something like that. Now try to put your chin or forehead on the floor. You can change from chin to forehead, forehead to chin, whatever you like, because it will be very difficult in one position to hold it like that. Now, imagine a heavy steel ball, lying at the small of your back. Now, a ball has a peculiar quality that if it lies in a groove, it won't budge. But if you make the groove in front of it lower than behind, it will roll. I mean, on any surface where the thing in front of it, the support in front, is lower than the point of leaning of the ball will roll to the lower part. Therefore, if you want to roll that ball in the direction of your head, you have to do something with the pelvis in order to make that ball move in the direction of the head. So very slowly, roll the ball a few inches forward in the direction of the head and return it. But, of course, if you roll the ball too much, if you lift yourself in a sudden jerk, the damn thing will roll over, and then there is no groove in the middle of the back. It means before you can form a groove for it on the spine, it will just fall off. So very slowly, gradually, move the ball a little bit forward and back again. A little bit forward and back again. And don't hurry, because every time you do too sudden a movement, the ball will go haywire where it wants and not where you want it. Can you see, you have to produce with clarity the part where the ball will go, will spontaneously roll, must be lower relative to the earth, relative to the ball, so that the ball can go wherever you want it to go. And when you want it to return, the point that was lower must be higher than where you want it to go. Now, stop a minute, transfer the ball on your right wrist. You see there's a groove in the wrist, a little below where we wear a watch. You can imagine that if you put a ball there, it will lie still on your right hand. Now, very gradually, you'll see there's a way that if the ball is moved with the hand properly, it will roll from the hand over the shoulder and come to rest in the depression between the neck and the shoulders. By the way, this thing is actually performed by jugglers or wrestlers with a steel ball, and they roll the ball from one hand to the other over the shoulders and back again, and then over the front and back over the back. I suppose many of you have seen it in the circus. So now you lift your fingers of the right hand, the wrist, and gradually lift the arm in such a way. And this time, if you lift the right hand, you can put the head on your left ear on the floor. And then, with the palm down. It's on the back of your head that you put the ball, the imaginary ball. Close your eyes, then lift the fingers, the wrist, and then change the attitude of the arm, of the body, so that the ball can reach the back of your neck and lie in the depression between the head and the shoulders. Leave it, and once, obviously, when you do that, you have to follow the ball all the way reversibly. Means you follow it, that the ball rolls gradually, and you know where it is. That means you must be able to stop it, continue rolling, or move it back. At least in your imagination, so. And there's nothing to stop you from thinking that way. And you will see how the body tonus and the muscles and the length, everything will change in accordance with your thinking. observe what sort of work that is, where you can see you yourself in your imagination impose a quality on the movement of the hand, and that makes an enormous difference whether the number of times you lift the hand will be insignificant because you're careful. But the improvement and the strength, the improvement in speed and strength that you get from that is incomparable with the effort you put in. You will see that in a few minutes. That also the arm will be capable of visiting points in space which are normally impossible to do. Now try slowly, roll down the ball from the hand to the small of the back. It means it comes to the groove and doesn't stop there, but rolls down to the small of the back. How will you arrange your shoulder blade and arm? How will you move the arm and the head in order to make the ball go from your hand, shoulder, straight down to the small of the back? It can be done with the left ear on the floor. I mean, with the left ear turned towards the floor. If you want to roll it down, you must lift the head. It won't go otherwise. Because the chest is thicker than the small of the back. Therefore, you must roll the hand and do something with the arm in order to organize it so that you can. Now try, well, perhaps you take a rest. But before you rest, get up. Those who have started and worked, get up and sense. Sense the result of this sort of thinking on your body in standing. And watch whether you can feel that the places where the imagined ball rolled, that part feels different from the other, clearly enough after a few minutes. Can you feel the difference between the right arm and the left? And the back, the small of the back and the right shoulder blade? It feels completely different. Right now, lie down again on your back, rest a little while. You will see that making the 5 cardinal lines clear in the position of lying on the stomach, as you do that, make a difference to the whole standing and moving. Now lie on your stomach again. By the way, while you are staggered like that, there is plenty of room to go a little bit near to each other so that the latecomers can find a little space for themselves too. Now slowly stretch your arms and put your chin on the floor. And now, you remember we started from the small of the back. This time put the ball at the back of your neck, in the groove between the head and the shoulders, and roll it down to the small of the back and back again, very slowly. And observe that's not enough to lift the head. It's important to render all the route or the trajectory where the ball will roll should be at each point lower than the point on which the ball rests. And then when you return it, you should make the way of the ball always a little bit lower in front of it than the place where the ball is. Otherwise it won't roll. Pay attention how much the chest in front must change with the clarity of the movement of this back, which shows you that every new part of the self that is integrated in the body image dynamically like that makes a change throughout the body, not only at the point where it is done. Hmm. Now watch, the idea of that is make you remember that's the major important part, making the body image reversible, unified, and without any peculiar predilections The whole thing, the whole human being should be capable of participating in anything. Therefore, you will feel some of you, while moving the ball like that, forget that they have knees, and some forget that they have feet. I see some forget that the feet exist, and some forget that the knee exists. And when the knee exists, doesn't mean that it exists only in order to strain and push. Maybe it exists also to open, to close. Maybe it's necessary for the movement to do something in opening the knees. When you go up and when you go down, maybe it's necessary to close them or open them wider. I don't know. But surely there shouldn't be one way of using your legs in such a complex movement. Now stop that a minute, rest a while, and try, just before we go to the left hand, try with the right hand again, roll the ball and see whether it's easier to do. Whether you can roll it a little bit smarter. And also observe whether your hand allows you now to do the movement higher, better, gentler, more precise, clearer. See what happens with the head. Try to think of letting the ball roll down from the arm to the small of the back and back again. Through the arm, over the shoulder blade, of course without getting to stay in the groove behind the neck, but immediately going on downwards and then back again onto the hand. And now slowly put your right ear to the floor and try to do the same thing with your left hand. Means on the back of your left wrist, you start with that ball and let it roll. First over the arm to the depression or the neck. And just watch whether the first trials on this hand are better than the other. Now roll the ball from one hand to the other, from the right hand to the left, and from the left to the right. Over the shoulders. It means not stopping at the depression behind the neck. See, many of you don't bend the wrist backwards. where the ball would never go to the end without falling off there. If the wrist is not bent somewhat backwards, it's impossible for the ball not to fall off. I'll stop it, rest a little, rest a little. Put your right heel on the floor, join your heels, and now put the ball in the groove formed by the heels and the legs. Can you feel there's a depression behind the heels that a steel ball would rest there very comfortably? Now very slowly, start all with the right heel on the floor so that we can change. That's right. And now very slowly, move the legs, the heels, the knees. Don't make, it's not essential to make acrobatic tricks. Roll the ball up to the knees and back again. To the knees only and back again. But then how will you make it go back? To go back, the thing below, in order for the ball to roll, it must go lower than where it rests. Now, to bend the knees, it's easy. The ball will find the way of getting there to the knees. But how will you go back? There are several ways of doing it. First is to extend your feet so that the front of the foot, the front of the ankle lies on the floor, and then slowly lift a tiny bit the heels, and then the knees, and then the ball will roll down. Therefore, it means that most people can't stretch their feet sufficiently, and therefore they will have to lift the knees much higher before the ball will return. But while they do that, the feet will stretch out more and more, and then you can lift the knees less and less. Some find it possible to do by bending, actually flexing the feet, and lifting the body higher. Well, what will they do later? Try that, try everything. Try and see whether you feel that performing what you want. That's certain that if you stand on the toes while rolling the ball back to the back of the heels, that's very hard and actually doing something wrong to yourself because you make it more difficult. You have to lift much more. There is little doubt that in order to get the ball back to the heels, the feet must be extended. With the feet extended, that the lifting elsewhere will be the smallest. Now that's good enough. Stop it. Turn the head the other way. Means with the left ear to the floor. And now put the ball either in the grooves formed by the anus and the folds in both thighs. Means you put it somewhere where it touches the anus and the two folds in both thighs, and then you roll it to the knees. From there to the knees, that's you don't need the toes on the floor. No. From there, you should lift the pelvis and let it come to the knees, and then to come back, there's no other way but lifting the knees. And therefore the knees, you can lift them in the most comfortable way and not the most difficult one. The most comfortable way will be how? Obviously bent. It won't go back. If you look from here, you can see that your knees are much lower than the buttocks. And to get back, you must bend the knees and lift them thing up so that the knees are higher than the anus. Otherwise, it won't return there. And you can do that using your hands in any other way you like. No, if you push from the front, it won't work. You must push the hands back, behind, and perhaps the easiest with the backs of the head on the floor, and lower down still, straighten your arms, and then lift both knees when they are bent, bend them and lift them higher than where the ball is, so that they can have an inclined plane, an inclined groove where to return. So again, while you let it go to the knees, it's easier to put the backs of the hands on the floor than the palms when you want to lift both knees bent and lift them sufficiently high, but they must be bent. The longer they are, the harder is the work. And with the jack, it won't do, because the ball will roll over and probably lie on your neck and press the neck to the floor, and you will never be able to go back. Now try to maneuver with your hands and your back to let the ball come from the heels to the knees, through the buttocks, there at the anus, and back again to the heels. It's a complex piece of work with the hands, and it must be accomplished while the ball is rolling. Therefore, you must know where it is in order to know what to do with yourself. Roll it, and use your hands, change their position to whatever is necessary at the right time, so that the movement with the ball is one movement and not 15. The ball, don't stop it and roll it again, but let it roll continuously. This compels you to have a continuous motion in the hands. It means that is dancing, because the hands are not free to do it. They depend on the rhythm of your pelvis and depend on your thinking. That's real dancing. Now will you stop that and rest a little? And now spread your arms sideways as before, the palms downwards. And now put the ball at the back of your head and roll it from one hand to the other. Roll it from one hand to the other. What it can be done in several ways. It can be done with the head resting on the floor until the ball comes and then turn it over to the other side. It can be done with lifting the head all the time and therefore straining all the time. Try every possible way to make it easy and good. And well done. Now stop it for a minute, rest a little. And just for your own sake, get up and walk a bit around and sense the enormous effect. Walk and see what it feels like, whether you can recognize that in that walking you take into account that you have a back and that the legs have a backside and that the shoulders are not only that part. Watch yourself. Which parts of your back are now used in walking forward, and sense what it does to the legs. And now also pay attention, what does it do to the way you carry your head? And turn around and see what it does in rotation. Can you see now, can you feel that in actual life you before used a very small part of the back in action? But now when you walk, you are aware of parts of the back that you ignored before. Now pay attention what it does to your face, to your breathing, to the lightness or the heaviness or the weight of the body in walking. And then, yeah, exactly. Watch how is your chest. Is it hanging or how you're holding it? And lie on the floor again. Lie on your back and note the difference in lying. It's different from what we do usually when we work the front of the body or other parts. Observe which parts don't touch the floor as clearly as usual. And return on your stomach. Now turn the palms upwards. No, normally palm upwards with your palm upwards with the thumb back. But in both cases, no. Don't twist the arm round. Take your hands in front of you like to join them in prayer, and then open them with your palms upwards. With your palms upwards. Just right. That's right. Now try it. Open them to the side with your palm upwards. That's right, your palm upwards, like that. It's very difficult to put the palm on the floor like that. And that's why actually it shows you that the body image of the shoulders is not complete, and therefore you still maintain it as if you were standing. Now try to put a ball in the palm of your hand, a ball, the same ball in your palm of your right hand. Put it into the palm of your right hand and lift it, let it roll over your inside of your arm to the depression in your back. Now, you try to do something with your head and shoulder and see what can be done to make with your right hand, roll the ball only with the right hand. See, perhaps you need to change the position of the left arm now, so to make it possible for the right hand to go upwards, roll, change the position of the left hand in such a way that you could roll the ball over the inside of your arm through the back to the tip of the clavicle, to the groove on the clavicle, between the clavicle and the shoulder blade, and then straight on your neck. No, Carlos, you don't hold the hand properly, and neither does Corantaya, and neither do the others. Some do. Hold your hand out, the right hand, so that you can hold water in it. That in the palm, can you hold water in your palm? Like that you can't. Then, that's right. Hold a little water in your, now pour the water over your arm to the back. And now instead of water, roll a ball. Slowly, do anything you like with your body, with your chest, with your head, in order to be able to roll the ball from the hand over the shoulder. You can roll on the floor, do any sort of twist, provided you can roll the ball to the back of your neck and from there back to your palm. Use all your ingenuity to do that. No, Otterwell, your hand is not right. That's right, like that. It's very difficult. But you needn't hold it sideways. You do anything to bring it there. That's right. And you will see that after you thought it through several times, you will see that your hand and arm will do something that a lot of training is necessary before that would happen. You'll get it straight away. Try to see what sort of demands, what sort of new attitudes in your body while you do that. Could you imagine in order to make that thing feasible and easy? You can do with the body and the arms whatever combination of rolling, of lifting, of bending, of twisting that you can imagine until you can have the ball rolling really the way you feel. That's good. It's uniform. It's nice. I can have it wherever I want it. And at the speed I want it. But if you do awkward things, the ball will never come from the back of the head again to the palm. If once you lift the neck so that the ball will fall on the floor. Therefore, you cannot afford to make one big mistake like that. Smaller ones, yes. Well, why doesn't it occur to anybody that if you start on the palm, you could roll it up to the elbow and then lift the hand and make it roll on the back of the arm to the. Why don't you think of that? Why, if you twist your arm, you feel that the twisting must continue to the point where it's impossible to do. Now slowly. Try to do the same thing on the other hand, on the left one. Now lie a little bit on your back. Lie on your back. And now put both arms sideways with the palms upwards. And now try to roll it from one hand to the other this way. Can you roll it without lifting the head? Can you roll the ball without lifting the head? Now roll it from one arm to the other. Can you roll it without bending the elbows at all? Can you roll a heavy steel ball without bending the elbows? Suppose the ball weighs 20 pounds. How would you lift it like that? Wouldn't you have to round your hands and elbows into some sort of thing that both arms are a large arc? Or could you do it with, you try. Try to imagine that I'm standing on your hand and lift me. You will see how you could do it with a straight arm. Now imagine a heavy ball, a very heavy steel ball lying in your palm. Wouldn't you have to twist your body towards the palm to lift it? To lift that arm, would you have to roll your chest in that direction so that you can shorten the arm and lift it? Wouldn't any shortening make your life easier? If that's so, why can't you do, and you have to do it on both sides. So obviously both arms and the shoulders must take a special shape of a large arc. And the shorter the arc, then the more you will have to roll the body right and left. And therefore, between the two, there is an optimal in which you roll the body the least amount that is necessary to make the thing feasible. You will roll the shoulders. Now, it's also not necessary to have both hands maintained in that stage all the time. When you lift it from the right, the other arm is free. It needn't be strained at all. It should only become strained when the ball comes over it. Therefore, each arm works independently, only ready to come in the right time. And that would be dynamic dancing instead of static preparation, of being afraid that you won't be moving the arm in time. That's essential in the human body, that we should prepare where to put the leg so as to regain balance and not keep it stiff and not refuse changing position. Therefore, one arm should relax when you have the weight on the other. And move only in as much as its weight is important, its length. Now, can you see you could make that thing much easier and only over the chest, then the other arm gets to work. Otherwise, you use it only in as much as it's necessary to rotate the body. All right, now with that position of the arms, try to lie on your front and try to do the same thing while you lie on your floor. Put your arm, turn your arms towards the ceiling, and now lift your shoulder. No, like we did, same thing, like before. Now, suppose you could lift your head and your spine were easy, so that bend your knees. Bend them. Lift the head and lift the knees off the floor. Could you now rotate the arms easier? Let the arm go. Now, that shows you that if you had the suppleness in the back to lift the head sufficiently and breathe in while you do that so that the chest can lift and the body bend backwards, there would be no difficulty in turning the hands and have the ball rolling from one end over the back of the neck to the other. Huh? Can you see? Some dancers who could imagine that. Now stop it, don't struggle. Lie down, rest a while. I want to see something very nice. Put both hands on one another in front of your head. Put your right ear over the hands. Your right ear. Stretch out your feet. Bend. Put the legs together. Bend the knees. And first move the feet to be sure that you don't extend them and you don't stretch them. Somewhere in the middle. And now tilt the two legs together to your right and see, compared with the other day, whether there is somebody who can't bend your knees. If you don't bend the knees, it's no, Carlos, shame on you there. Move your legs and see whether it, compared with the other day, whether it makes a but it's better. Is there anybody who can't touch the floor? If you can't touch the floor, do the funny sort of thing. Go to your right and stay there. And now move the toes of the left foot down to the floor to touch. It means the foot itself should turn outward with the toes touching the floor. The toes of the left, not the right. The left, the right, try the right foot. Stretch out the right foot, touch with the right foot the floor, with the toes. That means the heel should be away from the floor and the toes touching the floor. And move the foot like that to feel it. Move the foot on the floor. That's right. And now stay in the middle and then tilt to your right again and see what it feels like to touch now. Huh? Can you see the effect of caressing the floor, caressing oneself? It makes a difference because you see what it does? It enables the body to realize kinesthetically, inwardly. You feel what you're doing. You have another sensation with it, a sensory sensation, a sensory. You feel the floor and your foot. Therefore, it becomes more concrete. Therefore, it's integrated better in your awareness, in your body image, and that makes the thing even more enhanced. Because while you do that, you pay attention to what you feel from the outside and what you feel from the inside. It means like if you touch your head with your hand feels the head, but your head feels the hand. And with those things, most people don't think only of one. If you think of both, you find that your awareness of the thing becomes enhanced, clearer, better. All right, now lie again on your front, stretch the arms outside, and now try with the palms downwards, and now try to roll the ball from the right arm over the back of the right arm through the depression on the neck somewhere, down the spine, down onto your right leg, on the left leg only. Roll it on the left leg only. Roll it until the soleus, there is a groove between the muscles of the calves. Wait a minute. Roll from the right end only. No. What is it doing? Right hand over your shoulder blade, above your shoulder blade to the back of the neck, down the spine, and roll it over to the right leg, over the buttocks, but it will come round the buttock on the right hip joint, and then down in between the hamstring, will make itself a groove to go down to the knee and below the knee between the two parts of the muscles of the calf, where if you're with your hand you can feel that there's a groove there, and the ball would go down to the back of the heel and back again, send it from your left knee, left thigh, round the buttock, back to the small of the back, over your shoulder, to your right hand down to the floor. And then from your right hand, roll it over, back over, down the spine, small of the back, over the left buttock, over the left buttock, on the side of the left buttock, on the hamstring in between the middle, down the heel, down the knee, and in between the two muscles there on your calf, on your left calf. And then roll it down again to your right hand. And now back from your right hand again. Down the small of the back, round the left buttock, onto the left hamstring in the middle, the left knee, and in the middle of the calf, down to the heel and back again. Watch if you have to strain the other arm as much as the right one on which the ball is there, but you really need the left arm strained all the time. Find it which is it easier, to take it away and come in time to do it, or hold it all the time prepared for doing. Stop a minute. Stop a minute. And try to do it on the other side, means from the left arm, from the left arm to the right heel. You see, with some people, you look at it, and you could think that it would work. If they really did it, it has a chance of succeeding. With some, it looks that they are so divorced from the work of the body in practice with the gravitational field that there's not one chance in 100 that they would succeed in rolling a ball like that. Because you see the body is kind of ignorant, cockeyed. And you can see in that the amount of presence the person can produce on a stage. The one who doesn't will be on the stage completely out of gear and will, whatever he says, it will be the same thing. Othello and Hamlet will be the same thing. Now, would you please lie on your stomach and now make the most important part of this exercise. Join your feet, put your forehead on the floor or the chin, whatever you like, or your arms sideways like that, your arms sideways, palms downwards. And now, without moving, making no movement whatsoever, roll the ball from the back of your neck, down the spine, down the groove between the buttocks, down your thighs, on the knees, to the heels, and back again, but making no movement whatsoever. I mean, try not to move. But imagine the ball rolling and do in your imagination what is necessary to make the ball come from the heel to the back of the neck and back again. But of course, if you should, to enable you the thinking, you should have your legs joined together. Otherwise, the difficulty of thinking of the members doing the thing when they are even not prepared for that is greater. That's why I make you join the legs and do that and put the head prepared so that it's not so difficult. Otherwise, the imagination has nothing to hold on to. Thus you have at least a skeleton on which to trim your story. So try to think it. You will see actually that while you think, you can sense the tonus of the muscle changing in the places as if you were doing it. And therefore you try to think without doing that, and you will see that you can't think without the body. And that in fact our thinking is in time, the speed of your thinking, the velocity of thinking, of this sort of thinking anyway, is limited by the speed of your action, what you can achieve. Try to think it faster and you will see. As soon as you think faster, you jump over places, you leave them, you're not feeling them, you're not sensing them. If you want to go have the ball rolling from there to the neck, you can think it approximately at the speed at which it can be done, and not faster. If you want to do it faster, you have to divorce it from your body and make an abstraction. Then you can say up, down, up, up, down, 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 down. But you can't make it think up, down, and in fact even you can't say it. Therefore you see we are much more what we are structurally than what we think in abstract terms. We have no notion of how we function, really. Everybody thinks that thinking is infinitely fast. You will see that thinking is actually infinitely slow, that we can do many things much faster, like moving the eyelids. We can move much faster than think. That's why when a fly goes to the eye, we close it before we think or we know what happened. Because our thinking is slow for that. And when you slip on a banana skin, the body is righting itself without relying on that thinking because it's too slow. Yet we believe that thinking is fast just because we can say, oh, from now to infinity. And nobody can actually envisage or imagine that infinity. It's only an abstract word. You try to move your eyes from here to infinity. Or shout from here to infinity. Now turn your head to the other side, or to one side at least, to the right side. We had it on the chin now. Turn your face to the right side. And now, without moving, move the ball from your right hand to your left hand over the shoulders without stopping in the middle. Don't do it, just think it. Think it through several times. Now, think it for yourself. You have the ball now on the back of your neck, and you move it wherever you think you feel like. Move it down, diagonally. Move it the way you wish. You own, direct yourself, but think it through clearly so that you have at least once up and down, right to left, and diagonally. In the advice, try to think of those parts of the body where you roll the ball without stopping, that you don't realize. You can't direct your attention to the ball and to the place where it is. If you think of both, the ball and the place, and roll it, you will see that that will produce the greatest change in the body. In the body or in your mind, in your muscles or in skeleton, you can see that they are all the same. That actually depends what is in the head. That means on the nervous system. Whether it thinks, whether it does, whether it directs, whether it acts, whether it knows what to do in this field of gravity, whether it knows its own body. It means all that is certainly done between different parts of our nervous system. Forebrains think, the thalamus senses the feeling, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, angry, depressive, or whatever it is. The other parts, the stem, and others direct the balance of the body to know where it is, how it is. The cortex, the muscular tonus, and direction of the pattern of the movement, and the sensory cortex doing the other way. Therefore, you can see it's a complex, very interesting functioning of which we have very little idea. Of the completeness of the work, we know very little. Up to now, there is only one little function that has ever been tested, really, and that is in an octopus, the movement of the eyes to get really that an external excitation through the eyes, through the visual cortex, back to some muscle. That has been tried by J.Z. Young, and I think somebody here in one of the California universities has produced one arc like that complete, has succeeded in doing that. Do you see what we know about real functioning? Next to nothing. All speculation. Now, would you stop a minute, get up, and work again and see whether this thinking business, the last few minutes, whether that hasn't got an enhancing effect on what you felt before. Walk around, see. See how by we do that we literally become completely free of gravitation because we use our skeleton much better. We become light, serene. There is no better meditation than that. And I'm pretty sure if you have an instrument and measure your alpha now, you will see that you can meditate, meditating what people meditate and never know what they do or don't. And then they measure the alpha. Try now. Anybody having an alpha measurer, measure it. And now lie on the floor again. On your stomach. And try what you imagine now. Try to do it, but only as not to work hard to lift to the limit, but just sketch the movement. Make it within the limit where one would think, when I see it here, I would know that you want to go down or up or diagonally, but actually not do it. Do only that part where you could see that the body performs what you wanted to say, but on a small scale, reduced. Just what is very easy to do, which needs no effort. Try to think whatever you like and do it. But do it so that you could do it for hours, that there's no strain. You don't need your legs high or your head high, just enough to show that you're thinking. Therefore, lift your hand to that limit where the ease, where it's equivalent, similar to the thought, not more difficult. And the feet where you lift, and the pelvis, and the knees, whatever you lift only that amount where you feel, oh, that is just like in a dream, that I could do forever. And if that is so, then on lifting there should be no change of breath. On changing direction there should be no halting of breath. There should be no sign of difficulty anywhere but the fluency that you have in thinking. And by the way, you complete, there's two parts that have never been involved, though they still do. That's the plant of the feet. The plant of the feet. The parts that stand on the floor. Why not, while you do this sort of thing, try to imagine which parts of the foot have the biggest pressure on the floor, which parts have this least pressure, how is it distributed while you lift, bend, do, and you will see how this reminder makes the rest of the picture hold more together. Another thing, while you do that, try to think that the distance between the heels, the toes, and the top of your head is really as long as it is. Think of the length of it. And now try to put the hands along your body with the backs of the heads on the floor. And see whether you can think now of rolling the ball from right to left with the arms stretched. Try, you will see. It's not easy. Try to imagine your hands on either side of the body as they were a minute ago. And think of moving the ball from right to left. And try to find out in yourself what actually are you able to do. Which part of it can you do now? Put your hands back sideways. Put your hand back sideways. And now imagine them, feel them as they were a second ago on either side of the body. Imagine them to be there. Try to visualize that. This is a very queer exercise and a very queer effect. Now put your hands again with the backs of the hand on either side of the body and try to imagine again the ball rolling on the backs of the head, of the arms from one side to the other. And see what actually are you doing when you do that, when you sing that. Now think the arms staying where they are now, and think them that they are here, and while you think that, move your hands slowly to the other position, thinking that you actually have the hands where they are now. Move them, while you still leave the imaginary hand there. And in front, of course, you turn them with the palms downward. See how much of it can you do. Now try again. You will see that when people talk about imagination, thinking, but experimentally. Nobody, to my knowledge, has ever tried to do the things you're doing now. And I can assure you that I've read more than one book on Zen and on yoga and on tarot and all sorts, with a lot of nonsense, with a lot of superstition, with a lot of useless things. But I've never seen anybody doing that. Try to see what it does. Now try again. Have your hands sideways and move them back to the position on either side of the body with the backs of the hands, but leave the hands, your imaginary hands there, as they are now. And you know that that's what they say, that many yogas are capable of doing that, That means projecting their self, the astral body elsewhere. Now you are projecting your astral body now. Can you see that astral body is something they think and put words which they really don't know what they're doing. You're doing now your astral arms. Now are they astral or are they arms? Now you try to do that really a few minutes and see what sort of feeling and what sort of sensation you get in your body and what you feel when you have astral bodies and real bodies. And slowly get up and try to walk and see what you feel, how you feel your arms and shoulders and the rest of your body. Now try to feel what sort of arms have you got now. You must only get to understand the thing and see how come that some people think of that way and that. You will find that they don't know what they do and they explain something which is clear to them, they don't know how. And other people take the words for knowledge. But the fact is that some of the ignorant people felt these sort of things. It proves that it is part of the human functioning. And therefore it cannot be. I'm sure that one day we will know actually how telepathy can be made, provided it's inquired not with a superstitious, idiotic idea of that a man is superior, can project his what elsewhere. There's certainly something in the way which can be studied methodically and found, but not. Therefore, you should not neglect and not throw away what seems to be superstition and just sucked out to the finger. If many people do it, there must be something in it which can become clearly, consciously knowledge, instead of just that internal feeling, which many people don't know how to express. They haven't got the tools for it. And therefore they put it in a way which is unacceptable to others. But gradually you can get it all. And that widens, of course, our understanding of ourselves and our knowledge of what a human being is. Now, that's it.